some extremely strong reactions to the less than 30-second Shrek 5 teaser trailer. While there's a lot of discussion over the art style itself, I have also noticed a large amount of vitriol towards this character right here. For some reason, based on very little evidence, Shrek fans think they have figured out the entire personality of this character and the entire plot of the movie. And I'm here today to tell you that you're wrong. Chapter 1. The Shrek 5 Plot Prediction. So the internet seems to mostly be in agreement that the plot of Shrek 5 is going to revolve around a generic daughter growing up and dad doesn't like it kind of story. Most of the posts I've seen revolve around the idea that Shrek's daughter Felicia will have some fight with Shrek over wanting to leave the swamp, and then she'll go off anyway, and Shrek and friends will go on an adventure to find her, leading to a moment where Shrek is like, "I was wrong. You should live your life." There are a few reasons that people think this is going to be the case. First off, Shrek's daughter is voiced by a big celebrity, which guarantees that she will be a major part of the plot. It was inevitable for Shrek's children to be in Shrek 5, but they could have still been babies or not have been as majorly involved. Knowing that one of Shrek's children is grown up and going to be a main character has led people to the conclusion that a commonly cliched father-daughter trope will also be present. But beyond just the presence of Felicia in the trailer, there are some other elements that have caused viewers to draw this conclusion. The fact that the opening of the trailer features a TikTok reference makes people think that generational divide is going to play a role. However, Felicia is as shocked by the TikToks as Shrek is. They actually seem to be on the same page about it. If the trailer had Felicia be the one to show Shrek the TikToks and Shrek was like, "What's wrong with kids these days? When I was your age, I ate onions and terrorized villages for fun," then it would be a bigger indication of them having some sort of generational divide. I also think the art style itself contributes to the plot prediction. Since the art style change is viewed negatively, it will no doubt influence people to view the film as a whole negatively. If these out-of-touch executives can make a bad decision about the art style, then they can make a bad decision about the writing. The main reason I think this cliche daughter gets mad plot is being predicted so much is that it's a reaction to the parts of the trailer that bother people. They don't like new characters and well-known franchises being given celebrity voices. They don't like references to things like TikTok as they see them as out of touch, even though Shrek has always referenced pop culture. They don't like that the movie's art style changed. They see all this stuff that makes them mad and go, "Well, the writing must be bad too." I think it is incredibly unlikely that Shrek 5 is going to follow the plot exactly as these posts on the internet are laying it out. Sure, movies have done plots like this before, but I think some of these posts are a little smug with how sure they are that this movie's gonna be this way. And I think it's a little unfair to Shrek as a franchise to think that this movie will be so predictable. Look, movies have conflict, and if Felicia is a main character, then there definitely is gonna be some kind of rift between her and Shrek. But to think that that rift is going to be as shallow as she wants to leave and he doesn't let her just doesn't line up for Shrek's character. In fact, I think it might be the opposite. Chapter 2, my Shrek 5 plot prediction. In the Shrek franchise, ogres are portrayed as extremely independent. Maybe the plot is actually about Shrek wanting Felicia to go out and find her own swamp. Don't you think that's more in line with Shrek's character? Throughout the franchise, he struggles to let people in and likes being left alone. Yet all of a sudden, we think that in this movie, he's gonna be suddenly super attached to one of his kids? I think this might only have been said in Shrek the Musical and not anywhere in the films, but at least in the musical, Shrek's own parents abandoned him when he was 7 years old, which is apparently a common ogre practice. Another reason I think it's likely that this might be more of a "I want you to go" plot rather than an "I want you to stay" plot is that the other Shrek siblings aren't present in the trailer. Now, while this doesn't 100% confirm that Fargus and Farkle don't live on the swamp, it could be an indication that maybe Felicia's brothers are more like Shrek himself and have went on to find their own swamps and villagers to terrorize. Sure, this only gives way to a different cliche in "Why can't you be more like your brothers?" But hey, I'd find that plot a little more interesting. But there's another thing that you aren't considering when predicting the plot of the Shrek 5 movie: the magical element. Every Shrek movie revolves around a certain magical spell that drives the plot. Shrek 1 has Fiona's curse that turns her into an ogre at night and then eventually an ogre permanently. Shrek 2 has Fairy Godmother's potion that creates human Shrek. Shrek Forever After has the whole Rumpelstiltskin contract, and Shrek the Third has some wizard that teleports them off an island or something. Okay, Shrek the Third doesn't count. Something all these non-the Third Shrek movie magical elements have in common is that they are used to teach the lesson of the story. Fiona's curse teaches Fiona that appearance doesn't matter, and by turning her into an ogre permanently, it allows her to fully embrace her true self with Shrek. The human Shrek potion teaches Shrek that Fiona loves him regardless of his appearance. The Rumpelstiltskin contract teaches Shrek to appreciate the life he has. I've seen it thrown around that Felicia will turn human like how Shrek did in Shrek 2, but I don't see it going in that direction. Not only is it the same spell that we saw in Shrek 2, so it would likely teach the same lesson, I also don't think it would really be all that meaningful to see a human Felicia as opposed to seeing the human Shrek. In Shrek 2, we had already gotten to know Shrek for an entire movie and saw how being an ogre affected him personally. To see him get the chance to not be an ogre and see what he looks like in human form is pretty special with all that in mind. Felicia, on the other hand, is a character who we will only get to know in this movie. Her having a human version wouldn't be significant because we would have barely even met her ogre version. So, what do I think the magical element will be in Shrek 5? Well, I don't know. Come on, guys, the trailer's less than 30 seconds long. You think I can extrapolate what kind of specific magical plot point they're gonna have just from that? All I can tell you is from what I know from past Shrek movie patterns. And from past Shrek movie patterns, I can guess that we're gonna be seeing some kind of magical element in Shrek 5. I just don't know exactly what it is. Okay, fine. I guess you all want to know what my best guess would be. I don't really know fairy tales. I don't know, maybe something that grants wishes? Ooh, how about a monkey's paw? I think that would be very Shrek to include such a morbid magical object. That's my prediction. Shrek 5 will include a monkey's paw, and it will be really messed up. There's one last possibility that I think we aren't considering. See, a lot of these predictions about the whole Shrek-Felicia conflict in Shrek 5 seem to be under the assumption that Felicia is going to be the second most important character in the film. And while that's certainly a possibility, we kinda don't know that that's going to be the case. Perhaps the crux of the film is a rift between Shrek and Donkey of all things. You know, honestly, I would love to see that. Donkey was really such a big part of Shrek's character arc in the first movie, and each subsequent film just kinda relegated him to simple comedic sidekick with little plot significance. You know, that's really a bigger problem with the Shrek franchise than the redesigns or the Shrek daughter plot. What I really want to see in Shrek 5 is a better use of Donkey. Chapter 3, An Uncertain Future. Just about every movie is predictable in some way. It's about what each individual story does within those story plots that makes them special. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of stuff in Shrek 5 that you've seen in a million other animated films as well, but can't you say the same about any other Shrek movie? Look, if Shrek's daughter is a big part of the movie, then yes, it's overwhelmingly likely that they're going to have some kind of strain in their relationship. And since it's a kid's movie, Shrek will probably be the one who is in the wrong and will have to make up with her in the end, and we can all have a nice big eye roll if that happens. But that doesn't mean that the whole movie is completely hopeless. I think a lot of these reactions to the Shrek 5 trailer are a symptom of the distrust that audiences have towards those who are in charge of the biggest franchises. And that distrust is deserved. We've been burned far too many times by disappointing cash-grabby sequels, reboots, and remakes that just don't put in the work when it comes to telling a compelling story. And it can be frustrating when products like this come out and make millions or even billions in a way that feels so undeserved. Shrek 5 could be awful. It could have worse animation, corny humor, and the most generic played-out plot imaginable. And if it is, they would get away with it and fill their pockets with a swamp load of cash, all while we're left disappointed. That is a real possibility, and I truly understand why you're afraid of that. I feel optimistic about Shrek 5. I think it's a franchise big enough that it still has some sort of story it could tell. I feel like the powers that be are aware enough of how important the franchise is to people that they're going to be more careful when it comes to how it's presented. And I don't think the short trailer is enough for us to really know for certain what it's going to have in store. Hey, if you like this video, maybe you'd like to see this other video right here. If you like what I do and want to see me do more of it, consider becoming a channel member or supporting my Patreon. Link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.